Oh, we're on. Okay.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, that's it. Hi everyone, and a couple of minutes late, but you know, when you're running around trying to look as beautiful as we do, you know, it takes a little bit longer for me anyway. But, you know, I know we're talking about a really, really, really serious subject here tonight, and, you know, and I'm hoping that someone out there, or maybe you know someone that will benefit from this. And to me, like, if you can share it, is fantastic.
Yes,
or
please.
send people to YouTube. They can watch it on YouTube. You can just go On the Couch with Kelly on YouTube. You can go onthecouchwithkelly.com on the website and send people there.
Or you can go to my Facebook, Steph
Yeah,
Patterson.
Steph Patterson. Yeah, go to Steph's Facebook. And, you know, you'll be able to read a lot of her posts. They're very inspirational. And I think we've certainly started a journey here.
Peeling the layers.
Yeah. And I know we said, you know, we're going to get very, you know, deep about the whole thing, and because this is the reality. It's no use, Steph and I had this conversation, there's no use skipping around what it's all about, because we can fluff around for every show and never really get to the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, like, let's go way back to the very beginning. And you said you wanted to kind of have a look at or speak about and be raw and upfront about the real dark side of drugs and where you were going. And I mean, you know, the thing is, Steph's whole family is watching this show. So, I mean, they're learning as it goes along too, all the information. And this is a really big thing for you, Steph, to do what you're doing. Like, you know, I admire you. You're such a warrior to just open up like this, but I know that you're about helping others.
Yeah.
That's what the whole thing is all about.
Yeah.
Because you really want to help other people make the decision of not remaining where they are right now in that hole.
Yeah.
And for all the mums and that, I know tonight we're having Steph's mum on, but something has happened, and Marie can't make it tonight. Hi, Marie. And I know we'll have Marie on in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
So we're just doing a little bit of a swap. And this is a series, so we'll be going on a fair bit about it. And I have got a few pieces that I want to read from Steph's notes. Yeah, to me, I mean, I sat there last night, Steph, and I just started reading through the book, and I couldn't stop crying.
Wow, really?
Yeah, no, really, I'm very serious about it. I said to Vince, like, I want you to sit and listen to this. Because to me, this young woman is just absolutely spilling her heart out here. And by reading it, you just, let me read something, like bugger that. I'm just going to read something. Now, I've got a serviette stuck in here. Now, I even look at the book. Steph Addict. Can you see that? Producer, have we got that on the screen? Now, I know I said to you, you know, just give me some notes or something that you've written, and I want to go through them.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I go, far out. And I just say to myself, this is just the most insane. I'll just read this little bit. And I've got them marked with serviettes. Like, it's a bit uncool, I know, but
It makes me nervous. I don't know what part you're going to read because I haven't.
I'm going to read lots of them.
Okay.
Because, you know, I was just, like, I couldn't control myself. I was sobbing because I thought, you know, here's a young woman. She's only so young. And I tried to look back to when I was your age and what was going on in my life and what was I doing and children and all those sort of things. And I thought to myself, wow, if I'd been through that and got hooked on drugs and didn't function as an adult, I wouldn't have had the children that I've got now, and I certainly wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really made me look at what I've got today and say, you know, like, I cherish everything that I've got today. So, this is just something.
Okay.
Accepting help, you've actually got it here as. Despite my hazed mind, I somehow remember clearly the morning I decided I couldn't keep living that life anymore. I had been up smoking ice for almost a week, At this stage of my addiction, I was 100% using against my will. I didn't have the power to stop using. I was spending my time with other addicts I just met. People I knew weren't good for me, but they had my drug of choice. And I didn't care for my well-being anymore. I wanted to be high and stay high. I felt so sick, but I couldn't stop. I was being driven around by new people in my life to pick up ice from dangerous people. But once again, I didn't care. I remember when they all left me at my house to come down. I was alone, again. I always found myself alone towards the end. I had been feeling alone for 6 months, not just because I was isolating myself, but even when I did get out at odd hours to retrieve more ice or get ice dropped to my house, I felt alone in any situation. I have always believed being lonely, utterly lonely, was the worst feeling in the world. I felt like nobody loved me because I didn't love or even like myself. I would spend weeks in my bedroom alone getting high, too scared to leave my room, even to shower. I spent months crying and wailing in the most pain I've ever felt. I thought that nothing at this point could help me, even though I knew the drugs were the biggest contributor to my deep sadness. I couldn't find faith that I could stop. I was completely convinced that nobody knew the extent of my using. Since I'd had so much happen to me personally over the past months, I used them on my reasons for looking exhausted, scrawny, and unhappy. After 2 days of violently being sick, I knew I had to be looked after. This come down was the worst than any I had ever experienced. My stomach was so empty, all my muscles were tight, and my spirit was completely crushed. My recent suicide attempt left me with 2 choices: die alone, hurting as a druggo, or go to my mum's and have time to heal there. I drove in tears to my mum's. I was up vomiting the whole night. As any other time, I told her I had a bug and didn't know what was wrong. When I woke up the next morning, I couldn't picture myself turning up to work again like this. I couldn't handle another person asking why I looked so unwell and pointing out how my clothes were swimming on me. I just turned my phone off and laid in pain. My mum came in, closed the door behind her, and approached me unlike any of the other times. She did, to confront me and tell me she knew I was using again. Something felt so different this time. Maybe because I was ready to come clean. I was reaping the consequences of living the double life I had been for too long now. My mum was crying. She sat down beside me on the bed and told me she knew something was wrong. My vomiting wasn't a bug, and she was so worried for me. She begged me to finally get some help, to let her help me. My hurt was too great. I couldn't even find energy to deny it anymore. I came undone. I wept in shame and lost all control. I screamed that I loved drugs. And I didn't want to stop. I loved how they made me feel. We both knew I wasn't being truthful. I was only trying to convince myself. I packed my things to leave, but I didn't want to go back. I was using my last strengths to fight one last time for my relationship with my beloved drugs. My mum followed me out the door. I tried so hard to pretend I didn't come for the hurt I clearly had been causing her. I can't do this alone. I need to be somewhere locked up where I can't get out. Otherwise, I won't make it. My thoughts were that it's now or never. All the walls I had spent so long building up to protect myself were quickly crashing down around me. Help me. I fell into my mum's arms, and she promised she would help me find the spark in my blue eyes she told me were faded. I told her I would drive home and sleep and wait for her. I drove straight in the direction of my dealer's house, wanting to taste drugs one last time, but my phone rang. It was Mum. I pulled over and poured my secret out, that it wasn't my usual speed tearing me apart. I was smoking ice. I promised I would go straight home. I drove to my dealers and told them they would not hear from me for a while. I was going to rehab. I've noticed that addicts who don't know that they are addicts all have the same advice, telling it with a laugh. You don't need rehab. You just need to sleep and get some food. You'll be fine. I left there in my heart praying I would never ever return. I never did. I never contacted them again, never attempted to get on from them again, and was 100% willing to leave behind the people I had met in that horrible time of my existence. Once we became desperate enough, once the pain becomes great enough, and once our lives become unmanageable enough, we give in and turn our lives over to something or someone else, anything else, to help us recover the person we once were. An addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. You are welcome to. Like,
Whoa.
Steph. Oh, darling. Deep tissue. Excuse me, everyone.
Wow. I haven't, like, writing that took, weeks of getting up and having cigarettes in the middle of the night after rehab, when I left rehab and moved in with my sister Rebecca. And, all day. Sorry.
Don't say sorry.
But this is the stuff that I need to remember. I haven't read back over that in a long time since I wrote that stuff, and whoa, it's just insane where my life was. It took me all day. I've been at home, I didn't work today, and I've been trying to put myself in that mindset of what it was like when I was really, really low, and I wanted to die, and I felt there was no way out. And I, even on the way driving to get D tonight, I took a detour through Dudley, where I used to live, and I went past places where I used to use, and I wanted that to trigger some sort of memory for me so I could be completely raw tonight and, get out of my head and really open up about, what it was really like. And I wasn't able to do that. I was just nervous. And then when you read that, I didn't know what you were going to read before sitting down, and that was really hard to hear that sort of stuff, and what my life was like and how much pain I felt. Like, the pain I felt, I knew that my relationship had ended. My family didn't know where I was. They didn't know if I was okay. And I just remember oh God, I felt so alone. I just felt like I had no one. And I just, it took to read that again to remember why I'm doing this tonight, to reach out to someone that, possibly feels like nobody loves them, and that there's no escape, because there is. My life is, I think about where I am now, and I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm not there anymore, and that's so good, it's just no comparison. It's no comparison. I would never want to be back.
Is that to you like you're watching a movie? Like,
Yeah.
it's someone, like, even listening to what I read?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's other parts of it too that like I want to read out, and I'll do that over time.
Yeah.
And I know it's really confronting, but we spoke about this.
Yeah.
And this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And you were prepared. You were prepared to, you know, like get it all out there. And, you know, you just read all that, Kelly. They're all the things that I've written. And read whatever you want to read. Because this is about me being totally honest and open, because we don't want anybody else to go through what you went through.
Yeah.
And if they are, we want to be able to help them stop it.
Yeah.
You know, or help parents. If someone's going through it right now and, you know, you just don't know what to do about it, contact us.
Please.
You know, just put a message up on the comments and we'll contact you, or send a private message to me. If you go to On the Couch with Kelly on thecouchwithkelly.com, you can actually leave a message or an email there and we'll contact you
It's
if you
really
need some
important.
help.
If you listening to that, you know, I really wanted to touch tonight. I called you earlier today and I said I really wanted to touch on those really low points. And I remember just wanting to die and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I know so many young people committing suicide while they're high, and it's so fucking scary. Like, I remember presenting to the Mater Hospital high as a kite, going, what is wrong with me? I just want to kill myself. And I feel like that's the only way out. And there are so many people that feel that way. And I just, listening to that, it's exactly like a movie. It's strange. It's like an out-of-body experience. So if anybody is feeling like that, I remember I had every, you know, attempt. You know, I had so many people calling me and, you know, do you need help? And people end up, you know, people drop off at the end. If you know someone that's, you know, they don't really come out anymore and you know they're hanging around bad people and they stop texting you and you're worried about them, please go to their house and check on them. Because I remember trying to commit suicide and I very, very luckily, I passed out while strangling myself, and I had a very good friend and he was all the way in Wollongong and he was worried about me and I didn't answer my phone. And he called someone to come and check on me and he saved my life. And I'm so thankful for that, you know.
So were you
go
talking?
check on them.
Were you talking to him before?
Yeah, I was. And they knew I was down and out and they didn't know how bad it was because nobody did. But the last message I'd sent was, I remember writing letters to just the people that had been there for me. And a text was to him and I just said, I love you so much. You've been such a good friend to me over the years, you know. We met years ago and he lived in Wollongong and I'm in Newcastle. Our souls just connect, you know. And it took for him to go, hold on a minute. Like, that message is a little bit, you know, you don't usually send messages to me like that. To call a friend of mine I was supposed to catch up with. And for them to knock on my front door and come in and find me there, you know. In that state, you know, I was hallucinating, like, oh my God, you know, like off my head, you know, I'd woken up from passing out, like, it was terrifying.
So what made you, like, what was that second or that situation that made you think that hanging yourself was what you needed to do? Like, how did you prepare for that? Where did you get the things to go and do it, or what made you think that hanging was the way to go? Like,
I don't know. My mind was so... I remember my partner had just moved out and I had a man at work. I work in aged care and he bled out and he had a really bad death. And a good friend of mine at work, we helped take care of his body and clean him up for his final moments, you know, before his family could come and see him. And that really traumatized me, and I was actually high on that day at work when that happened. And for quite a while, quite a few weeks leading up to this, I was getting high before work and coming home at night and going into bed with my partner and pretending I'd go to sleep when he was, but really I'd been up for weeks. Really, I just had power naps here and there. And when you're already suffering in your mind with a relationship breaking down and, you know, seeing that man die and stuff, something in my brain, I don't know, I was just mentally unwell. And I didn't leave my room. I remember not going to work for, I don't think I returned to work actually for longer than a couple of days. And And I was just high all the time. And I didn't want to sleep because every time I slept, I'd get really bad night terrors. And I'd have nightmares about my dad dying and nightmares about this man at work. And I can't tell you why I thought hanging. I can't tell you what made me feel that way. But it was scary. I was so scared. And I remember I felt like I know I had people I could talk to, but I couldn't. I felt like I really couldn't. Because if I told them, they'd talk me out of it. And it was like there was just someone else there saying to me that this pain is so great that if you don't kill yourself now, you'll have to live through this pain. And I didn't want to. I remember I just was grieving my partner who had left, and I'm a big reason why that relationship failed. I mean, I was on drugs and hiding it from him, you know. I wasn't the person that he fell in love with. I wasn't Steph anymore. I was just this shell of a human being who was just miserable all the time. I just remember crying all the time. It's all I not wanted to do, it's all I could do. I remember getting online. I lived by myself, and I'd get high and I'd have my crack pipe next to my bed, and I'd look up ways to tie a noose, you know, and I tried doing that. And then one night the pain was so great, and I got, you know, electrical cord, you know, extension lead, and I'd put all these photographs all over my mirror in front of me, and I put a blanket over my head, and I tried to strangle myself with this power cord. And it was fucking, I kept pussying out, but I kept going, you can't live through this pain, because you know you can't stop drugs. How are you going to live without drugs? You know, and it was just, even talking to you now like this, it's like I'm not really saying this. It's like strange because I don't talk about it. But I need to talk about it, because if there's someone out there that's struggling with that, you know. I went to the Mater, and I got the best help I have ever received, is from people that told me they had been through something similar. And that's why I want to reach out, because I've been through that. If I can help someone that feels like they want to end their life and they don't even know why, you know, that would make what I've gone through, you know, worth it, to be able to help somebody else.
And I mean, that's, you know, very beautiful of you, that's what you want to do. That's the whole aim of this show, and exposing your life and things that you've been through, and because you want to, you know, you want to honour that by helping someone, or, you know, whether it's someone that's got a family member, you know. And I know we're going to be talking to your mum in some weeks, and your sister, and, you know, we'll be talking about what was it like for them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, the thing is, like, crack's really expensive. All those sort of drugs are expensive.
Not even the right people.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Yeah. So, you know, you get to that stage where you've got to go and buy all these things, and like you said to me before, that you just get to hang out with your dealers. So you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can afford your habit.
Yeah.
Because drug addicts don't want to be on their own.
I didn't do my grocery shopping, or my washing up for that matter, for near 5 months at the end. Like, I just didn't enter my kitchen because I didn't eat anymore.
5 months?
All I do is clean my room like a mad crackhead, and obsessively OCD, clean my room, move my furniture around. I'd never go in the kitchen, because every time I went in the kitchen it reminded me that I'm not eating, something's wrong. So I would never go in there. You know, I lived off egg and bacon McMuffins when I was starving, and that'd take, I remember going through, my garage, my double garage. I would go through anything and everything, like, to find 20-cent pieces just to make up enough at the end of the week to get an egg and bacon McMuffin when I know I couldn't get on anymore, when my dealer would be out. Like, there's always a way to get on, and food and all that stuff, that would come later. You know, that stuff didn't matter.
So what happened, like, to you? And I know we'll get into detail with this with the other shows coming up, but what would happen to you when you couldn't get in contact with your dealer and you're hanging out, like what sort of symptoms would you get? Purely because I want people to be able to identify if something's happening to their son or daughter or wife or husband or whatever, so that they've got a clue as to what to look for. So you're in this state now, just say that, okay, like, you know, describe your day. So you can't get onto your dealer in the morning.
God, hell. That would just be hell.
This is the morning that you can't get onto him.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens then?
You'd be ringing his mates. I'd be going there before work just to do a drive-by and see if their car is there. Anything and everything. I'd get mothers and Red Bulls and coffees, and I'd have I remember I used to have 14 coffees a day at work. Just constantly drinking coffee just to have that high, you know. Oh God, where there's a will, there's a way. But there's always a time when you can't get on, and especially when, you know, you've used and abused a lot of people and you don't have anyone left. God.
What are the symptoms?
Oh, symptoms.
What happens to you?
Cranky, not talking. I would go from up here right down. I would just be a walking, sobbing mess. Really, really tired. Could sleep through anything. If you're looking for someone that's coming down off crack or whatever, or you know, a drug that makes you, you know, awake, they'll be sleeping, like dead out for days. I remember sleeping through 2 shifts for work, totally just out. I couldn't get onto my dealer, couldn't drink any more coffee, and I just slept for 2 days straight and didn't answer my phone, didn't wake up to a phone call from work, nothing. Just slept right through. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're cranky. Don't even look at me. I am so mad unless you have a crack pipe for me or you have something to take the edge off. You just depression. Just really, really bad depression.
So how long have you, like, when you were right into it,
Yeah.
how long was the longest time that you'd ever be without it?
The last 6 months, 7 months was when I was the worst. Not even a day.
Not even a day?
No.
So how much would this habit be worth?
Ooh. My soul. It's about how much it's worth.
But I mean, for you, if you had the money and you had to pay for everything, then let's just disregard all the dealers and that you were friends with and all the free drugs you were getting and whatever. What would be like the amount of money that you would have had to have found in a week, say? Let's say a week. Yeah.
Well, towards the end, I constantly had a crack pipe in my mouth. Towards the end. All the time. I couldn't, it was that obsession of having it there. I was fried. I was completely fried. I was not the person that's sitting here now. I was totally different. I was a zombie. And I remember I got my paycheck once, which was $1,800, and I spent that straight up right there. And that got me high for, and I was worried about money the next 2 days later. I was worried about money again to get on. So a lot of money.
How did you keep your job? Because, I mean, you needed the job to get the money to pay for the drugs to keep going. How did you keep your job?
Well, towards the end, I was after the incident that happened when the man passed away at work, and I had a lot of things at home. My boss was really fantastic with me, and she didn't know about the drugs, but she knew I was very mentally unwell, and I needed time off, and she was very fantastic with me, and she gave me some time off, which was paid, and I regret very much taking advantage of that now. You know, that makes me nervous even, you know, admitting that stuff, but
you're in a drug state.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you were here now and the way you are now, you would never have done that.
No, because I have a conscience now.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're addicted,
Borrow money.
You do things that you don't normally do.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing? What was the worst thing that you did to get money for drugs? It's all right. There's no children watching.
I used to work in a place called Sydney, and I didn't even want to say, but in a strip joint, and and I would make I don't know, like $2,000 a night sometimes, and straight towards drugs, and to pay the person that would drive me up there. That's the worst thing I've done, and that's something that I haven't even come to terms with, that I've done, and that comes from a lot of insecurities with and without drugs. You know, a lot of insecurities, a lot of daddy issues, a lot of just wanting to feel loved and wanted, you know. And when I'm high, I'm a real, not a person that you want to be around. I'm a different person, and I would just do anything. I just loved the thrill of putting myself at risk. That was I got off on that, you know, big thrill, jumping off high things, you know, speeding around in cars, just doing stupid stuff and not respecting the body that I was given, and, you know, how precious that is. And, I did a lot of stupid things.
And I was saying to you about, you know, how thin you were and like you weren't eating, and you did say to me you liked that.
I did, yeah. I used to be like quite fit, like going to the gym. I've always gone to the gym. You know, I haven't gone to the gym the last year and a half maybe. You know, throughout my addiction I went to the gym. I do a lot of yoga. But I could get on for a weekend and I'd lose 2 kilos in a weekend, easy. So if you're getting on for a week, I was just constantly losing weight at the end. And that's been a huge thing for me, to accept my body now. And I'm not saying that I'm fat or anything like that, but for someone who naturally, with or without drugs, has a lot of insecurities with my body image, which is stuff I'm working on, you know. It's a lifetime thing working on, but I remember pinning my pants. They were size 6, and I remember pinning them like this much at the edge. And when I went to my mum's house and decided I wanted to get rehab, we weighed me and I was 41 kilos, and I'm now 60 kilos, 61, 62 kilos. And I put on like 13 kilos in my first 2 weeks of not touching drugs.
Wow.
I couldn't stop eating. Like, I just loved it. But yeah, you know, it was a quick fix, and I won't lie, it's not easy. Sometimes I go, wouldn't mind just one weekend on the gear, but I could not do that to the loving people that have put themselves out for me. And like my sister, massively, my sister welcomed me into her home after time and time again, just abusing, you know, her trust, and let me in her home with her, you know, her 2 beautiful children, and kept me there and kept me safe and trusted me, and sheltered me, and, you know, bought my food for me and got me back on my feet again, you know, after rehab and stuff.
Because she believed in you.
Yeah. You know, I didn't believe in myself. That's what it takes, is someone to keep believing in you. She's the one person that's never judged me for what I've done. You know, she's just the most kind, beautiful person. She's never touched a drug, you know, had maybe 1 or 2 drinks in her life, you know, and she has hydrocephalus, so she has been sick her whole life, you know, vomiting, brain tumours, brain surgery, and here I am, this person, just making myself sick, you know. And God, how that must felt for her to watch me do that to myself, I know. And I'm so close with my nieces and nephews. Like, I wanted to be, you know, I'm not that person that, you know, was doing that stuff before. I'm someone that, you know, sorry for crying so much tonight, but this stuff, that what you read is really real, and it still is there, and it's a part of my life that I can't forget, you know. And today I'm not perfect, and I'm still got a lot of shit to work on, but I'm able to be there for the people that were there for me when I was just nothing.
And I know your sister's been beautiful and supportive, and then, you know, like, when situations like this, like we're saying, like your mum, and going back to your mum's house.
Yeah. I knew she would know. I knew she would.
Well, do you think that she knew and just felt like she couldn't say anything to you because she was frightened she might lose you, or?
I remember her saying to me when I wrote a part in my draft of my book, and it was having a look at what addiction does to the people we love.
Yes, that's the other bit I was going to read out.
And my mum said to me, I'm sitting in the backyard with her a couple of months back, and she said to me, in the end, I just went, yep, whatever you want. It was like a child that was tantruming. You know, I couldn't get through to you. I had to wait, and it was painful, but you weren't listening to me. I had to wait until you were completely broken to come to me. You know, my mum knew. That's why I stopped seeing my family for months before this. My family saw very, very little of me because I never answered my phone. I was a mess. I was just constantly effed up. I was just, just a mess.
If you, like, you've got the opportunity now
Yeah.
to say something to your mum. I know it's big, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't want to cry on tonight, but that.
You know, but that's it. That's how it
Say
is.
something to my mum. Jeez, I'm sorry.
You just look down there and, like, you know, each and every week I ask everyone to do a message of hope to someone out there, and we'll do that as well. But I'm thinking that this is the most beautiful opportunity in life that you've got to give your mum a heart-filled message to her. And what do you want to say to her?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not taking care of myself. You know, when you taught me how to do that, and you taught me better, and I didn't listen. You know, you taught me to be a good person, and I just took advantage of that, and I'm sorry. That's what I'd say. God, all I've done is cry.
Oh, look.
I love you too, Mum.
Your mum wrote that she loves you, so your mum's just sent a message and the producer just said that.
I'm like, you know, sometimes I long for tears like this to remember what that's like, because it, as painful as it is, it's actually really nice that I'm not that person anymore. It's so nice. I feel like I've escaped, you know, this awful life. I was going nowhere. I was no one, you know. And not that I am someone and I'm this freaking big shot because I've sat down and made a video about my life, but this is big stuff for me, you know. And
Absolutely.
It feels really nice to be going to bed tonight and conscience free. I'm not hiding anything from anybody, you know.
You don't have to ever again.
It's really, really nice to know that.
And, like, you know, to me, I just think you're a most incredible young woman, and I'm so blessed that I've met you. And I am so blessed to be able to tell your story in the hope that, you know, just one person. I know there was one of the mums out there that contacted you, and
Colleen,
and she was
I hope
having
your son's going well.
Yeah, and, like, you know, that's how it all works. That's what we're all here for. And this is about, you know, like, we're continuing this because, like I said, this is a series. So I'll let you all know when Steph's up again, when Marie, Steph's mum's on, and her sister. We've got all the dates planned. So, you know, I'll surely let you know. And, you know, I've said to Steph that she has to give a message of hope. So what is your message of hope to people out there watching?
My message of hope. If you're someone you're watching someone you love, or you are the person that's going through a similar kind of thing, with or without drugs, like, I want to aim to focus on, like, people that feel suicidal, you know, tonight and are feeling that way, is you are worth it. You know, you might feel like you're a complete piece of shit right now, and that you're useless, and you've done so much wrong that you can never come back from it. I'm living proof that you can. And don't give up on yourself. You can turn your life around. It is possible. I promise you that. It's possible. So just don't give up on yourself, and find that person that hasn't given up on you and run to them. Go and talk to them. Yeah.
Beautiful. thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you for having me. I'm a
Everything.
mess.
She's beautiful, isn't
You're
she?
beautiful. Thank you so much.
So, number one, come off the rank is Rebecca.
My home
Patterson.
girl. My home girl, Becky
Say
Patterson.
hey, Rebecca,
And
thank
to my
you so much for looking after this young girl and, you know, making sure she's okay. And of course, thank you, Marie Patterson,
Thanks,
for
Mum. I love you.
you having this beautiful, gorgeous young woman, and at least you have your daughter back, you know, and that's the one beautiful thing about it. And thank you, Bonnie Rain, and thank you, Nathan Errington, and thank you, Anne Egan-Plazier, and Melinda Ferguson, thank you so much. Peter Marina, Colleen Dandelion, thank you, Colleen. I hope everything's going really well in your world right now. And thank you, Miss Sharon Sharp and Deb Connor, thank you so much. Adrian,
You got a lot.
yeah, Adrian.
Oh, my uncle. Yeah.
Oh, is that your uncle?
Yep.
Thank you, Adrian, from the Rainbow Runner. Like, you know, if you've got to get any sort of cards, beautiful cards, I bought all my cards there in Beaumont Street in Hamilton. You've got to go, the amazing shop, just, you've got to go in there just for the experience.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Joanne Quirk, thank you for tuning in tonight and having a listen to our show. Brendan Patterson, thank you, Brendan.
You.
And thank you, Georgina Harry. Thank you so much. I know I saw you today, and thank you. Claire Reed, Tegan M. Smith, Patea Tai. Oh, Patea Tai, thank you. I just have to say one thing. Everything in moderation. They will know what that is. Moderation. Okay, that's my little signal to Patea Tai tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Sheena Briggs, thank you so much. Natalie Hewitt, thank you. Jeffrey Dean Horton. Yeah, there's some of them. We haven't got them all down, but Jeffrey Dean Horton. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey was on the show some time ago, and what an amazing story he has got to tell. Thank you, Jeffrey, so much. Kathy Hobbins. She says to say hi and to give you a hug. Shireen Lowe. Thank you, Shireen. David Bunting. Thank you, David Bunting. Sandra Hancock. Remy Castle. Colin Laws. Chris Rourke. Thank you, Chris, and I look forward to your show coming up soon too. Reese Smithies, thank you, Reese, and Frank Day. Thank you so much, Frank. Deborah Quirk, Rowena Barry, Donna Field, and Jai Mann. Thank you, Jai.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that's my son there at the end there.
Oh,
so
hi.
thanks, Jai, and thank you, everyone, like for taking the time, you know, like taking the time and listen to this crazy woman here wanting to talk about the most amazing things in life, and
my problems.
you know, and giving people opportunity to voice it. And you know, this is a way of getting the story out there and knowing that you are not alone. You know, in life, so many of us are going through so much stuff, and we could give up. I myself could have given up, you know, many times, and I go, no matter what, never give up. Know that things are going to be okay. You know, time heals a lot, and hard work, and loving yourself and loving those around you, and taking the time to talk to others. That's the big thing. And the biggest thing of all is being, you know, big enough to ask for help or accept help. So, you know, no matter what's happening in your life, take the time to do something about it, and know you're not alone, and you don't have to be alone. So, you know, we're going to say no matter what in life, blah, 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 no matter what in life, take care and know that you're going to be okay. So, thumbs up for the okay. So, I'll see you next week, everyone.
See you guys.
Oh, and I'll just do a little postscript here. Sunday, 2 o'clock, I've got a very young, wonderful, inspirational, amazing young girl that I'll be interviewing. So, tune in 2 o'clock Sunday if you want to watch it live. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Bye.